Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Zyskowski, the founder of Caerusnet, and thanks for listening to the Caerusnet Podcast. Sydney Plaskey is joining us today. She's a Caerusnet Brighton Wednesday 10 o'clock member. She's joined Caerusnet in January of 2022. So she's been in the network for about a year and a half, and I'm excited to have her on the podcast. So Sydney, welcome to the Caerusnet Podcast. Thanks for being with us today.
Hi, Steve. Thanks for having me. Appreciate being here.
Well, I've been anticipating doing this. As we were talking before we started the recording, I like to wait till people have been in the network for at least a year before we get them on the podcast, just because I think you get a more purist viewpoint than when somebody first joins and they're all, excited about joining. It's not that there's not reasons to be excited, it's just there's a learning curve. So I'm glad that you've made it, through the first year and you're continuing on. Love having you in the network, but let's go back in time really quickly because I always like to connect the dots. How did you first learn about Caerusnet? Who told you about it? How did that go down?
Sure. So my husband, Jimmy Plaskey, has been a member of Caerusnet for a very long time. So before I even knew anybody in the group, I was, tagging along to events with him. As I think he's been a member for something like over 5 years. It's been a long time since really the beginning. So it was an easy transition for me. He said, the second I even thought about starting a business, he said, you have to join this group and get to know people in the community. And it's worked out so well for him as far as getting leads for new clients or just networking in the community and meeting new people, having new connections. So he really was pushing me from the very beginning to get involved. So as you mentioned, last January, I started kind of listening in on the calls. And then by the time I was opening the store in July, I felt like I was really getting to know the team.
Yeah, that is absolutely awesome. And one of the cool things that happened during that same time, I kind of find there's like a universal consciousness that's happening out there. We're all kind of connected a little bit that way. And that year, I had a lot of people that were family members that were joining Caerusnet. On one of my 8 o'clock Brighton group, I've got two Ruxes. One's a financial advisor, one's an insurance agent, father and son. Another father and son team. Darren is a real estate agent on my Tuesday 8 o'clock group, and Jake, Rick from Horizon. He's in the network too on a different team. And then I've got the Plaskeys on the same team. So I always say, family doesn't give bad information to family, and it's nice to have a true referral families going on. It's very
exactly. Cool. It doesn't get closer than that. Yeah.
Not really, no. So, and I do remember meeting you at our events many years ago, the movie theater when we did the MVPs award ceremonies over there. That's where I first met you. I think when you and Jimmy were dating.
Good memory. Yeah, I was gonna say I remembered that. I wasn't gonna call out the specific events and put you on the spot, but
no, that's
you're
okay.
right.
Yeah, and he's actually been doing it, can you believe it, since 2015. So it's actually going to be 9 years next
Wow,
month.
Yeah.
Going to be insane. So let's talk about
you had a longer relationship with Jimmy than I have. Crazy.
You may know more about him than I do. But what I know I like. So hey, let's talk about your business because a lot of businesses did start up during the pandemic. It was kind of a period of time when people really did that checkup from the neck up. This is how the world's going to be. What do I really want to do, right? Because it really made the world seem a little smaller. And you were one of those businesses that started during the pandemic. So let's talk about a little bit about your history and what led you to starting Sonny's, and then maybe you can explain to us what your retail location's all about.
Sure. So luckily I was kind of on the tail end of COVID starting when I did, but I definitely had a lot of people who were shocked when I said I wanted to go into retail in 2022. So I think during the pandemic, people got very used to ordering online, doing pickups and deliveries, that kind of thing. So I knew if I was going to do a business like this, that would have to be a major part of it. So from the very beginning, I've had a website where you can come pick up whatever you'd like or have it delivered to you. Anything that's in the store now is available to be purchased for shipping online. I knew that would be a big part of it, but honestly, the retail aspect of it didn't really scare me. There's always going to be people who are going to want to get out of the house, even if it, not everybody was ready a year and a half ago. So really, I just made sure that I made it clear that, we could really work around whatever schedule people had if they wanted to come shop in person or shop online. And then that way they could still feel like they're supporting local, because I think with so many businesses going under in COVID, people did have a restored kind of faith in small business and community, that they wanted to help out in any way that they could. So having smaller businesses that offer online is a really good way for people who might not be comfortable, but still don't want to always just support the big box stores. So I wanted to make sure that that was a big part of my plan, and so far it has been.
Okay, cool. And let's talk about Sunny's, the store itself, and what's in there. What, if somebody walks up to your storefront, what are they going to see? What's it going to look like?
Sure. So about half of the store is women's clothing and accessories. We tend to have a lot of brighter colors, some younger styles, whatever's trending and in right now. My mom and I pick out all the clothing together, so there really is something for every age group. We go to buying shows all across the U.S. as often as we can, and try to pick out the highest quality materials that we can while keeping costs low for our customers. So that's really the bulk of what we have is jewelry, accessories, and clothing for women. And then we do have about a quarter of the store that is focused on baby and toddler. So we have our bulk of that is bamboo baby onesies. So those are very popular gifts right now. They're, if you haven't felt them, they're extremely soft, very stretchy, all made of bamboo. They have fold over feet, so you can choose if you want to wear them like a little jogger or like a onesie where the feet and hands are covered. Two-way zipper, all the newly high-tech baby gear, if you will, is in that kind of section of the store. And then another section of kind of sports gear. So that's all that we have for men per se. But it's also women's, most of it's unisex sweatshirts and t-shirts and hats for our local sports teams. So we've got Lions, Red Wings, U of M, MSU, and then also a little sprinkling of just like black and orange Bulldogs, Brighton gear too. So that's another kind of the last quarter of the store. And it's always changing. We're always getting something new in every week.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I'm sure you appreciate about the business is, the freshness and newness of products and things that you're seeing, and looking into the future as to what people might be, in tune with in terms of designs and colors and what's coming out.
Yeah, that's been a learning curve for me too, trying to figure out how often, how early do I need to order this stuff and how much do I order? The whole first year I was brand new to the whole retail or manufacturing side of it. So for me, I was kind of learning on the go, and now I feel like I'm really getting into my groove of knowing, how much to get of each size for each type of product that we're getting in. So it's fun to learn along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. The crash course, and now you get to pull back a little bit, look at what you just drove through, and how might we navigate it differently just a little bit.
Exactly.
So okay, so thank you so much for sharing that information about Sunny's. We'll have a link to the website here on the podcast, and then also Sydney is going to be at the ReferralTopia Afterglow at the Foaling Warehouse on October 12th. Maybe you can explain the pop-up element of your business, because you've got online options for people to buy. People can walk into the store, but you might also be able to bring the store to events and other things. So can you talk about your pop-ups?
Sure. Thanks for bringing that up. So as we go into slower seasons for retail, like January, February, March, or, we had the streetscape project this year downtown Brighton that slowed down pedestrian traffic a little bit. I wanted to make sure I was supplementing that a little bit and getting out of the store whenever I could to make up for lost traffic there. So I started doing pop-ups first at sororities and college campuses. So I brought all of my Michigan State or my U of M gear, whatever it was, to different sorority houses and college campuses. And it's a good way to just let people know that we're available. They can always come back to our website, while also, capitalizing on some areas where I think we might have a key demographic. And then I've also done pop-ups for personal parties, for I've gone to restaurants, other stores to partner with them for pop-ups, things like this at the ReferralTopia event. So anywhere where, there's large gatherings of people, we're always open to doing pop-ups. I've been at the Howell Farmers Market every other week this year. So I'm really just trying to get our name out there as much as we can and let people know that we're here. Pop-ups are a really fun way to kind of hone in on one specific thing. So I think I was asking our Caerusnet team, what they want to see, and they said, we want all the sports stuff. So I'll bring all the sports stuff there. Whereas, if I'm going to the Howell pop-up, I've learned everyone likes the baby stuff there because there's not as many baby stores in Howell. So it's kind of fun to just pick out one little niche and bring that stuff to a pop-up for a few hours every once in a while.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love that. The flexibility and to create that dimension in your business. So let's talk also about, your approach to business and your approach to marketing your presence in the community, because, a lot of people, if they don't know you, they're just going to drive down Main Street and they'll see a business there. Other people that you've actually invested energies with drive down that and they see your location and they go, Sydney, right? And they get a good feeling and they want to share you. So let's talk about your marketing. And you've got an online presence, obviously. I know you've been on TV, you've done other things. You're really, really great at being out there and exposing yourself and throwing yourself into the fire a little bit. And you do a great job promoting your business. But where along the way did you make the decision personally that you felt that, doing referral marketing or something like Caerusnet made sense for you personally in your business?
Sure. So, like I said, I had a push from Jimmy in the very beginning, and honestly, I didn't really know what made Caerusnet different than like a networking group that I would go to where people are exchanging business cards and all that. Where, I have tried a good mix of all different kinds of groups, and something like this where week after week I'm learning more and more about what other people are doing is the right fit for me, because it makes a difference to fully understand what somebody does. Whereas at a networking event where someone says, oh, I this is the type of company I work for, in that 5-minute interaction, it's really hard to figure out, what do they do? What sets them apart? How can I refer that person? Whereas I feel like every week when I come to a Caerusnet meeting, I'm learning more and more about what somebody does, or I'm sharing with the rest of the group members something that they might not have known that I sell in the store. So I think that's a really important distinction to make about Caerusnet and how that's helped me. Outside of Caerusnet, there's also been all kinds of marketing that I do. I do a lot of social media. With my website, I have a lot of people that go on the website to browse and then come into the store to buy. So even though there might be weeks where I don't have a lot of online orders, it's still helping me as a marketing tool to just have that website up, because I can see through Shopify, which I work with, how many people are visiting it every day and things like that. Another big thing that we do is What's New Wednesdays. So every Wednesday, I post everything that's new that week in the store. So whether you're on Instagram or Facebook, you can always see our What's New Wednesday posts every Wednesday. And that's been huge for me to make sure that, I always tell people, if you don't want to miss it, check our What's New Wednesdays, because that's going to be where you see everything that's new every week. So I'm still learning, and I'm always open to different ways of marketing, but I'm really trying to do everything I can across the board right now.
Yeah, it's a lot of hats to wear.
Yes.
It's a small business owner. That's for sure.
Sure. A lot of self-taught marketing, but my background is actually in marketing too. I worked for a marketing company for 7 years before opening the store, so that was definitely a leg up.
Yeah, it's also nice when your previous work and things that you've done, add up over time to
Yes.
help you see the world a little differently and give you an advantage.
Sure.
Okay, so I guess we'll just kind of move here to our last question, and this is one that I like to ask every Caerusnet guest on the podcast, because obviously you know me, I'm always putting out the same message most of the time. I've been drinking from the Caerusnet Kool-Aid for 15 years now, so I'm sold. But it's also I think it's so important for people to get good advice and information from their peers, from from the other business people, because, your viewpoint, your perspective is not going to be exactly the same as mine because yours is unique and it's from your own personal experience. So we've had some new members join our Caerusnet team. Ryan, the painter, came in through Angela. Janine Yancey came in from Robert Pierce. So we've just had some great people come in recently. And I know that they've received some referrals. I know that they're already out there doing some trust builders because I give them a little bit of a roadmap when they start out, like, hey, here's the important things to do first. But based on your experience, if you were sitting down with one of those new Caerusnet members and a trust builder, hey, we're all on the same team. We want to see each other successful. I mean, your success directly or indirectly, is my success as well too. So, to me, every success and every challenge on our team, I feel personally. So what advice would you give a new member that's starting out in the world of referrals and networking? They're in their first year. What would be your best piece of advice for them to have success?
Sure. I would say set up as many meetings as you can with other Caerusnet members. Join as many meetings as you can, even if you think that person's business doesn't necessarily mesh with your business. I think there's a lot of people in the trades that are on our team specifically, and so it doesn't exactly fit with retail when you think about it right off the bat. And even those connections can lead to other connections. So for me, even in the last month, I've gotten all kinds of partnerships and projects that I've worked on together with different Caerusnet team members that I wouldn't have necessarily thought that I had something in common with from a career standpoint. So just in the last month, I was on Jason Tracy's podcast and we were in Rob Johnson's studio. So it's a nice double collaboration there. And then I met Christina Kafkakis through Caerusnet. And she called me up and said, there's this magazine that wants to have you and Jimmy featured, Brighton Neighbors Magazine. She, as the magazine's photographer, just suggested that Jimmy and I be within this magazine. So it wasn't even that her career was in it. I guess it's a double connection, a connection through somebody else to get us to another point. So while I didn't need photography for the store at this second, she did help me to get that continual connection onto Neighbors Magazine. So I would say, even though you don't know if your two businesses necessarily mesh together, get to know those people, and there could always be a different connection that they have that they can connect you to.
Yeah, I love that because, I think initially when people join a team, and it does kind of make sense, we think of like, who could our most natural partners be? Obviously, if you're in a trade, they can, and they're working with homeowners, that's what they're there for. It's easier to recommend other people than to just go, hey, and by the way, have you ever gone to Sonny's on the, you've got to find ways to bring people into the business. And your advice regarding don't make assumptions. Don't look at the room and go, that person's probably going to be my best referral partner, because it's really based on the strength of those interactions that you have with each other. When you do those trust builders and you meet with people and you're asking them questions about their business and how you can be helpful, wow, is that a game changer? Because and I like, to me, I learned a long time ago, here's a perfect example. I've had some people that were joining a team, and I had a hairstylist on that team who still does hairstyling in downtown Brighton, great gal, just lights up a room everywhere she goes, super personality. And some people on the group initially, it's like, well, how hairstylist, how am I ever going to get a referral from a hairstylist? I'm like, are you kidding me?
Hairstylists know everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, they know everyone, and people are sitting in their chair after that long day at work. And what's the first thing they might want to talk about? Was that long day at work, or what's waiting for them tomorrow, or why are they getting their hair done? What's the event? And she was the best referral passer, brought new members into the team and referred her clients in the chair. She liked being that resource for her clients as the hairstylist.
Yeah. And I get a lot of that too with my customers. Sometimes they just are trying to relax and want someone to talk to, at the end of the day. And some of them are talkers, which I'm good with, but you know, people are constantly talking about, oh, I've got this guy at my house working on this, or, you know, I'm just coming from this birthday party with so-and-so, and they tell me all about their lives. So I agree from that perspective that you can always, you know, work in a referral in that way.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the only way to really work in referrals is to get enrolled in the journey of your fellow members, right? To know, hey, how'd you get into your business? What were your challenges? And get on board. Because again, like we said, their success is our success. Well, Cindy Plaskey, thank you so much for being on the Caerusnet podcast and sharing Sonny's on the Corner, how that whole thing came together. Please be sure you check out the website, everybody. If you're going to be going to the ReferralTopia Afterglow, Sydney will be there. Cindy Plaskey, looking forward to, well, hey, is there any news you might want to share regarding your Sydney, the Plaskey family? I got a feeling we might have a future Caerusnet member coming in about 22, 24 years.
Yep. So we've got a baby on the way coming December 26th. Hopefully not on December 25th. We'll see.
All right, Cindy Plaskey.
Girl on the way.
Yeah, congratulations to both you and Jimmy on that. And Sonny's on the Corner. Great business in Caerusnet. Be sure you check her out.